freternick's Royal Jhator, which is new as of last night. And I think he's already managed to get a Jim Gem playthrough. So fair play to him. Come on, computer. Now, one early disclaimer: having just played Granger's course, I had quite a bit of lag on that one, and I'm not entirely sure that my internet is blameless there. So we're going to have a little look at this one, but if it lags, then that kind of proves to me that it's probably the computer struggling a little bit for whatever reason. Our internet tends to be up and down. Right, anyway. Oh no, I do have one other to play after this. I've got Low Country Yacht. Right, Royal Jhator. What teas would you like to play? Black, medium-ish winds. I like south, but whatever. We'll go south. There's some stuff on here based on like Black Mountain, Thailand, Vietnam, Asia courses, blah 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 blah. Cool. So let's have a little look at this. We'll go north and medium. I think that's probably all we need to do. And we'll go black, and let's go for pin 2. Alright, so those of you who don't know freternick, he's quite newer as a designer, but has quickly become noticed for his off-course stuff, which is excellent and very, very varied. So we're going to have a little look around, because there's a lot of like very cool items on here that you will have seen. Now, first of all, we're going to try and bump the graphics back up to Ultra, because that's what I'd like to play on, but the last course just did not allow me to do it. Or my internet did not allow me to do it, one way or the other. Okay, let's go and have a look. So first of all, we've got a very funky created tree here. I imagine he would have loved to have gotten all the bases joined together, which is probably doable. You just have to raise them all up and then put another tree below them or something, but I guess maybe not. Let's see what we have then. So, kind of Parkland in style. I thought that I know I've seen some of his stuff. It's ridiculous. So we've got a Buddha hand, I think, which is just some very, very cool rock work. And stairs and things, and a temple. Obviously a red temple, would have to be. I mean, I dread to think how much of the meter was actually spent on the golf course. Probably not that much. Awesome clubhouse, like, this is very cool. Obviously again, red, like, okay, so that's our first tee. We got some texture burn just below those bridges and retaining walls, but we'll manage. The best use of those little purple flowers I think I've ever seen. There is a lot to like here. Probably wins the clubhouse. I mean, we haven't seen Skinnies yet, but that's a hell of a clubhouse. I'm beyond impressed by this. Not even sure how you've done this. So bunker texture and a cart path texture, I think, and a dual water plane trick. Very cool. And what else do we have? We've got like a Zen garden thing. Oh my goodness, we've got more. Crazy waterfalls and stuff. From a big temple. Stunning little par 3. I mean, this is very, very cool. Again, another great tree usage with those flowers. Works so well. The bridge over here is awesome. I mean, the creativity points on this are off the charts. If the golf course can hold up, this is properly impressive. Love that temple, and the extra waterwork that you've done here looks crazy good as well. There's more stuff on this course that I don't know how is done than any other course in this context. There's the second crazy bridge with like the Buddha hands. Ridiculous. And then what's the last thing? But it's just... We've got some yin-yang bunkers. Of course we do. A Zen garden bunker sort of thing. I did see one other thing I wanted to check out. I think it's over here. Oh yeah. And he's done his rice paddies as well, which again look really, really good. Isn't it just? Morning, Justin. Okay, so the thing that leaps out to me is like all the off-course stuff is amazing. Can the golf course hold up? Because if it is even like a genuinely solid golf course, then this is going to pick up some points. I think like there's just so much good going on. My worry is that we've used up so much meter elsewhere that, or time elsewhere as well, that maybe it doesn't quite hold up as well. Anyway, keep back to the tee. Right, first hole. So we've got a bunker we can carry. Bunker sculpting is pretty solid. I think we can do a little with like the lips. So like the very top, I would probably want the sand texture to be a little lower and just raising like just behind the top of the bunker. So basically you'd run your raised brush, like imagine you make it about this big with that little circle on top right on the first page, and run it around just outside rather than right on the lip, and then that will give you a bit more definition. Aren't the bunkers are solid? Really good looking first tee shot. Okay, let's see how we go. Oh my god, I didn't hit a red fast off the first tee. We love that. Just about carries, and we've got a bit of a lion's mouth. It's a nasty first pin. Oof. Okay, we don't want to be long of this one. And that slow probably helps us. Short and an uphill putt is good. What a start. Carry on as we left off. Yeah, really solid first hole. I would have... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long that plays. Lion's Mouth to me is always a hole where you want a choice off the tee. Okay, into wind, we're not crossing this. So it's definitely a bit of a forced layup. Which I don't love. My preference with this sort of a hole is rather than try and make this be a little bit more of a diagonal hazard. So like if we cut it across here so people can choose to try to always take on the hazard. Because not so much that they can always carry it, but they always think they've got a chance. So here, 10-mile-an-hour wind, I'm never getting over this. So I'm just going to lay up. But if, say, the stream was just down here, that would tempt me to have a go and then potentially run into the hazard. But that's the reason why I prefer the diagonal nature of them. Cool green site, hidden away. Front bunker could be a bit better sculpted. I'd be dropping this down, raising this back bit up. It's kind of either flat or going downhill rather than you want this bit higher. Yeah, the free fly camera is great. I mean, it does, but you have to be in your own course and publishing. And I feel like I've now had 2 forced layups in a row, which I would rather not have, because these bunkers are really pinching this second shot, and I'd like to be able to reach this bit, but it's just not happening. And the more I'm laying back, the harder my shot gets into this one, which I get is kind of part of the strategy. I just think we can do it a little bit differently. I think I'm just going to try and split it with a driver and hope. I guess there's enough space there. Just feels like we're pinching just a touch too much at that point. And that's one of those things that becomes more feel than anything else. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of these tree models. I think and that's not necessarily your fault, although you have chosen to use them. But like these ones look pretty good definition-wise, whereas these look very plasticky. Bunker layering here looks really good. I mean, both the first 2 holes have been interesting for sure. Oh, gone and spun somewhere really weird. Enough pin to get close to. I think we can probably aim straight again, can't I? Oh, it just needed hitting. It was in. The single tone purple planting, I can take or leave it. Same with these. I think if these bushes tend to work really well when mixed in with something else. Not all of them do, but those ones do. With this bunker complex, I think why I like it, and I think actually you've done a pretty good job of sculpting them so that they're all equivalent, and like, as in, they work as a trio, because it's hard to layer bunkers like these. I think I would probably just take the whole thing and drop down like 3, 4, 5 feet maybe, because the problem is they're at the top of the hill and it's going down this way. Also would have been tempted to just join these two fairways, or bunker in between them, just something would look good. Yeah, not sure we can quite clear this. We'll give it, that was a dreadful swing. That is all me. Can't say I'm a massive fan of this pin position on. How long is this hole? 464. I guess I didn't have to take it off on. I don't love this pin position in a sea of orange and yellow. Let's just hack out short, hopefully chip up. Stop, thank you. But yeah, like, really pretty solid so far. Enjoying it. I think the golf is better than I expected it to be, which I completely mean as a competent. Sort of road hole-ish. I will say, I think sculpting could be a touch softer here. We've got this very high part and then it dips down. Like, we can flatten that out and make this camber just generally smoother, which would also help us run it around that corner. 1 second. What happens with these afternoon playthroughs? We're going to get interrupted by small children wanting things. Do you like this little feature? Would have liked to maybe extend it out a little bit further, but works. No, they don't really do anything. I think our play is really, for this pin, is as far out this way as we possibly can be. Which is cool, gives us a little view over this. It won't be too long. I mean, love the view. I would like to lose this little tree just so we can see a bit more of the green. Here. There we go. Planting is also working a lot better for me than I thought it might do. When I looked at it from the overhead, it looked very minimalist. Here, really like this, like framed very, very well. So just a bit more here. Like a little planting coming in from this side. Empty, like, means we don't have too much empty space. This green, I remember seeing this coming together. The sculpting is maybe I would work it in a bit more gently, so you can see that this just goes dead straight down. I think we can work it in so it looks a little less manufactured, but I mean, love the little bunkers work at the back. I think that blends in really nicely. So cool how you've done this. Just the creativity is off the charts. The mix of colours works so well. Yeah, just so much to appreciate. A non-gimmicky curvy bridge. I think I probably need a gap wedge and that's about it. Good little picture postcard hole, this one. Ah, a little too much. Go on, turn in. Not quite. Yeah, it does look great. I'll take a 3 there. And what I do really like as well is all of these little set pieces you've got, you're bringing us to them in ways that don't feel cliche. This fairway feels a bit narrow compared to the previous ones. It feels a little less consistent. Just like we are having to take on this. There's no other option other than lay way back. I think both your par 5s you've had so far are kind of forced layups. Just they're a bit forced. Oh, and of course we get a red slow here. Do I want to drop here? No, let's go for the drive again. Can do better than that. I think again sculpting this bit can be a much smoother. I think you want a gentle camber. It's just making your fuzzy flattened brush really big. Hey TPC. Yeah, I mean it does. It's definitely a different time, which brings pros and cons. I'll be honest, I would probably lose the bunker. I don't think it really adds very much. I get why it's there. I don't know, the fairway wrapping only round the back is really throwing me a little bit. We're going to play somewhere up here. Oh, I was hoping I'd lay up just to the right of it, but that's okay. Oh, would have been cool to hold out for par, but I mean, bogey is fair after the tee shot. Phil, that's the first hole I've felt where you haven't really given us any options. Both hole shots were just very forced. Yeah, this one's a miss for me. And there's just a lot going on, and it's a very long hole, and I don't know, there's a lot going on this green. I get the reverse beer sort of idea. I'm hoping to God you haven't put a pin in the middle. I suspect you probably have. Yeah, I think we can get this. Like, it's such a wild, creative course. There's going to be ideas that just don't quite work for everyone. That's the shot I wanted, at least. And this pin is just not a good pin. We're right on a very side slope, and it's suddenly changing direction pretty hard. I wouldn't be happy with this pin on a wedge shot par 3, let alone a 230 yarder. Yeah, I mean, puddles I'm less bothered about because actually quite a lot of very famous courses would have puddles if they weren't built on sandy soil, so like I just don't really subscribe to the whole. Yeah, okay, so we got drivable par 4. Hey, who dat? Where we're driving over the Jesus. Okay, this one's a bit quirky as well. I just feel like you've stopped using width, and I don't really understand why. Like, we could be putting fairway out to here, we could be putting fairway more here. I think this course works so much better when you gave us width and angles, because you've designed using them. I can't say I love the idea of hitting over a... if you were trying to drive the green, you would have no idea whether you need to reload or not before you... I know this is fantasy, but you get the idea. I only just realised this is in Swiss, that's very cool. Seen two very different takes on the Swiss theme. In this game, this is a fun as hell hole. In real life, this would be a car crash. Again, really cool view of that. I don't know that the fairway wrapping behind the bunker is really serving as much purpose. Right. But it's tough to work out how to do this because that bunker is, like, a large part of it is because the bunker is so big, but then this slope is coming away from the bunker anyway, which strikes me as odd. I don't know, I think we can do this neater. I'd probably be bringing some fairway down here. In fact, I mean, you can basically see what I do with this hole. This is 10 at Udlus, which is a recent one, and it tends to, like, on a hole like this, I don't think you need the fairway behind it. But if you were, my argument in my head would be, well, is anyone ever going to play from this, and therefore why have we got its fairway? No one's playing from there. Alright, for eagle. That would repair some damage. There we go. I mean, it's a fun hole, it's very quirky. I think you'll find some judges who have issues with that. Okay, we're back to slightly more width and options here. Although, start of your fairway I think can be way wider. Like, almost always allow people more space to hit a 200-yard shot than to hit a 250-yard shot. And certainly than to hit driver. This feels like the calmest green on the course. Actually, I think it works really nicely. Great sightline. Somewhere out here. I'd probably like to see the fairway wrapped a little tighter to the water. Oh, that's your yin yang sign, of course it is. I'm just at an awkward distance. Don't really want to be hitting a pitch. Really don't want to hit a pitch. I feel like a full wedge is just going to hang up there a little. Let's give it a go anyway. Oh, the slow's not helped. I think this pin just about works. It's breaking away on most sides, but it just about does the job. Oh, we got OB long as well. Ooh, did not see that. I mean, it's not really... We're not really in any danger, isn't it? It is just phenomenal. We're not really in any danger of going long, but I do like that there's OB there. With that OB then, in that case, I'd have probably raised up your green a bit, so that if people are going long, they are kicking long, and that's making that wedge shot in really tricky. Now this is a hole that we chatted about in Discord, so I'm interested to see how this came out. And we talked about having, this hard sloping front to back green, which really wants you to come at it from somewhere over this side. And if you play driver mindlessly round the corner, you're just facing, like, it's not impossible, but you're facing a really tough pitch down the green. I like how this has come out. I think I'd have probably liked a bit more fairway round this side, just to allow people to lay up, and then I think making this bunker smaller would have helped you as well. I think today with this pin I can go here. Even if the bunker's not too bad actually. I think this stream is definitely showing me as well that the last course was just causing my PC a lot of issues. I'm not having any problems frame rate here, and we're on ultra. Granted, it's a lot less dense with the planting. Yeah, planting back here, I think we could have done something different with. That's kind of our autogen Swiss, and like compared to what we've got here, I think your background planting really does stand out as like it's nothing like the rest of the environment. Which is a pain, but it is really important in contests that you kind of make it feel immersive rather than us just being jerked out of our round and feeling like it just doesn't quite fit. Stupid cool bridge. Yeah, again, we've gone really narrow and we're right next to a cliff. We talked about the cliff sculpting. Partly this is in Swiss, so you're going to get that muddy brown texture at the bottom. If you drag it down too sharply, you're going to get it regardless. These are okay. I think you will get better with practice. And the cliffside planting as well, I think you need to commit a bit more to rather than just the odd 2 bushes here and there. So we can't ever reach that. Maybe downwind? I think at this point we just split the fairway, or we bring the fairway all the way around here. Like, there's no point of this little tiny bit of fairway. Green is funky. Little double plateau. And I think the layup's really tough, and then the layup back here is tough. And back here is pretty tricky as well. I think my main takeaway for this course is probably, I think you need to be a bit more mindful of fairway widths and trying to be consistent. And like if you are choking the driver or what have you, that it makes sense where you're doing. Because like, I don't think that's impossible, but did we say this was aiming? Well, yeah, there I am. Because I think there's no sense in joining it, really. What are we aiming for? Easy, medium, standard CC. Standard CC, that drive is too tight, I would argue. But I mean, the question is like, is that fairway usable? Or like, is there a reason to drop it in? There's more of a reason to split it than there is to carry the fairway out there, I would argue. Either or is good, but just let's not leave it there. Actually, I think standard 9-iron is probably good. We've got a lot of helping slopes on the green though, so hoping that should be good. And it is. Greens are generally pretty receptive, at least certainly on this pin position. The on-course planting hasn't blown me away. I mean, this is not CC. Right, this pin is just not impossible to get close to, but about as close as we can do. Again, kind of with the fairway shaping as well, like we've got a giant apron here. Like, what's the reason for an apron? It's to allow people to run short and run it on. But we've choked way down here, which people could actually use. Like, imagine downwind, you're probably wanting to land it here and then run it on, and we could be giving fairway all the way out here, and we just cut it in for no real reason. Hey Pithy, has your Formula 1 finished? And did you get the result you wanted? But I mean, all of the off-course stuff is just so spectacular. The little temple up there, brilliant. Yeah, so I don't see how I'm not ending up kind of in this sort of position pretty much every time. Yes and yes, excellent. That said, clearly not too difficult. And we've got some sculpting issues here with the way the mulch is coming down. I did. We spent a while. Okay, we've got some, like, you can see how dark it's gone down here. I think we've just sunken a few too many trees, and we kind of need to smooth the land out underneath it because it can occasionally burn out, and that's what's causing it to go super dark here. Again, like kind of with the 9th green, this is a very softer green. very much a softer green. And actually I think this works really well. Fits really nicely. Like, this is definitely CC level, I would say. Up 39, up 54. With your elevation change, I would love to see this green, because we're not far off. Like, you can see when we pull up just to here, we can see those bunkers. I would be lowering this part of the fairway. So you see the landing zone's doing 40 feet, and then the next little bit is just like another 10 feet or so. Let's drop that by about 10 feet. Like, really play around with the sightlines. If you drop this whole area by 10 feet, we'd get a little bit of a visual of the green. Might even be able to see the ravine, but that would be tricky. We're then also having the issue where if you're playing away from the bunkers, you can't see the ravine you're hitting into, which doesn't bother me so much, but it's not ideal. I do like the elevated green for a wedge shot. I think that tee shot could work a bit better. And the light rough probably makes this work okay. Oh, still too long. Another crazy bridge, which works really well. Is it totally unnecessary? Where's our next tee? Oh, it's just there. I assume. Yeah, it's a totally unnecessary bridge. Okay. This is the sort of course where you can forgive that. It's a nature walk. Exactly. Like, it totally fits the theme of, like, there's some funky stuff on here, just go and enjoy. Oh, wasn't a bad putt. Okay, final 5 holes. I've enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. I really thought this would all be a lot of eye candy, but I know Nick spent a lot of time redrafting holes. I think clearly made a difference. I think it's another one of those pin positions where I don't love it. It's given how much we have on that plateau, I don't think you need to be quite this close to the edge. Or if you are, I would have that little area just there raised up a little bit so it's kind of flat and then suddenly drops off, rather than going gently into the really big slope, which seems a bit counterintuitive, but it depends where you're putting your pin. Long par 4 as well. I think these sorts of double plateau greens tend to be better used for, like, wedge shots, because you're requiring an aerial approach for those pins. Little bit of a glare into the sun. Yeah, because this isn't really the sort of shot we want to be hitting in. Because I'm either short of it or I'm long of it, and it's not about ground game. You're not asking people to roll up onto this. Yeah, this is very much a wedge game of, have you got the right club in your hands? Can you do distance control? And I think this one would do better with a shorter shot in. That said, I feel like maybe with the wind we're okay. Got away with a 92% slow. Sure. That's not what I was anticipating or hoping for at all, but we'll take it. Crazy hands bridge, obviously. Totally unplayable, exactly. Stupid shot. Not what I anticipated at all. I think lose this bunker totally. The far one. You've got all this water that's so naturally beautiful. Like, just show that off. This could be my least favourite hole so far, I think. I think it gets great land, but we're not encouraging people to play anywhere close to the water, which for me always feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity. The green is front to back, which I'm okay with, but it doesn't really feel like that's necessarily part of the strategy. I do like the bunker complex short, but we've seen that done elsewhere, and I think a little better. Just think again. This is one where it does. That is one of the things that I have said. I think it would be very easy to just have those extras and not show them off, and it's done it multiple times from different angles. It's done it really well. And the golf is generally a lot better than I thought it would be. For like this type of course, which can often be very gimmicky, it hasn't felt that. No, it just needed hitting. I think one thing that is hurting it is those Swiss pines and the backdrop, but I guess with the amount of meter used on the on-course stuff, I guess that's partly why. And at least you have blended them in so that we've got some of them there, but it just makes these trees stand out all the more. But I guess we're saying these are like the trees we've chosen to plant versus the natural ones. I don't know, you get a lot of leeway for going really fantasy. Split fairway hole, I can take or leave. I think it feels I don't really think there's for this pin, I don't think it matters which side. I only just realised I hadn't done that one. I'm probably... This is probably my last one now, but I might try to get another one done shortly. I'm going to have to do a little bit of parenting for a bit. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, I mean, we have, but I don't really think it matters. Like I say, nowadays I'm really not too fussed on it. I think the red slopes we have are a little bit giant. Like, we can have the same effect by using less red on the green. Let's hit into the red slope though and watch it come back just for fun. Ah, should have played short of it. Oh well. So yeah, I'll probably hop on again in... It's going to be actually maybe only about half an hour, 40 minutes or so. Because they're heading out for the afternoon. Yeah, I just feel like the par 3s are really brutish. Some of them. The 5th wasn't. But 2 of them have been just like... I think this is really asking for a wedge shot again, rather than the 5-iron that I've got. Great view, wish it was a shorter hole. I did not want to slow. Whee! Sorry, fast forwarded because it was so upset with its shot. Oh right, I've got... There we go. Don't really want to be hitting it that far. The rock wall sculpting there actually kind of works. It looks a bit odd, but it does work. Oh, that's really leapt right. Didn't read that at all. And on to 18. Sculpting here isn't great. The way we end up high and then we go low to the bunker, and that's why it looks a little bit squashed. I think lowering this bit of land, raising the bunker up a bit, because I think the concept is good. And again, I'd probably like the tee pushed up a little bit, or the bunker dropped back, so we're kind of making a choice as whether we're above the bunker or below the bunker, rather than, like, I just don't see, there's never a point where I'm going to be, at least in this wind certainly, but even in a neutral wind, we're maybe just about carrying to here. Again, if you're going for CC, this, I think, for me, is missing the mark a little here. We're just going to lay up short of that bunker, I think. And then that means, again, that we're kind of facing, as with 2 of the other par 5s, I think, to be honest, I think your par 4 design's been really good. the par 5s and par 3s have kind of fallen into the same pitfalls of just forcing a shot a little too much or a layup, and the par 3s just really tough. Let's see if we can get there anyway. Again, a good look coming into the clubhouse. Seeing the little Butterfinger again is really cool. I think what I'm most impressed with is your ability to visualise how all of these things are going to come into play and be visible. I know I've hit this shot to the wrong place, but I just wanted to see if I could get there. Yeah, above the hole. Don't think I had any way of getting that close, apart from going to a splash shot, which I didn't want to do. Just make sure we get it there. It's unfortunate. So there we go. And that's freternick's Dream Team course, which was a lot of fun. I think there were a few weaker holes coming down the stretch in particular. But for the most part, I thought the golf really held up to the environment. The environment, obviously, absolutely stellar, and the amount of creativity there, just crazy, crazy good. Yeah, what would I say? I'll tell you what. First of all, I did not realise or necessarily feel that there was a gap of 6 to 18 before we had a par 5 again. That didn't seem the case. I thought you came back. Your routing worked really nicely in the way, as Dan mentioned, that it kept coming back to that clubhouse and those areas in different ways. Variety of holes was really good. I thought the creativity of hole ideas was really good. There's a couple that missed the mark for me, but at least I can see the ideas and I will remember them. I think particularly the 2 par 3s on the back I thought were the ones that I would want to change. So 12 and 17 just felt a bit too severe for my liking. And probably 14 a bit as well. That par 4 double plateau. What else? A couple of the par 5s were just there were weird holes where for some reason we got super narrow compared to the shot we were asking for. And I thought this worked a lot better when it was really wide and gave those options and opportunities to play the holes in different ways. But yeah, hell of a lot of fun, like crazy good creativity. Just really, really enjoyed that, and I thought the golf played a lot better than I was anticipating it would. Given the amount of time spent on all of the set pieces, I think it would be very easy for that course to fall flat and be secondary. I don't think it did. So that's really impressive. I think that'll be an interesting one. Now, freternick, I believe, is an alternate, but I'm not entirely certain. Can't really remember who were the alternates on red and blue. But if he is, that's a strong chance of getting in, and was really entertaining. So anyway, I'm going to hop off for a little bit. I'm probably off for about half an hour or so, maybe a little bit more, and then I'll be back with the final red team playthrough. So hopefully see you guys soon.